Welcome to another reading and correcting of with me, Kindar, the Tiger Supervisor. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. Okay, chapter 12. The old man paused, and Alex noted that his eyes were distant. I intended to. Once things quiet down, destroy the backups physically. But they never did. Figured out I was behind the death and chased me. Ran. I hid and came home to try to hide here. What I did caused friction. Ron was young enough not to judge me. We tell anyone where to hear about the fabricator, about the research. Tristan's voice was gentle. Alex studied him for any cracks in them. Angry. If what the old man said about salvation virus was even close to true, Tristan's life was not. But even something this severe shake his ability to lie to people. No, of course not. Talk with children about what I did. The stories I told Dahlia and Baran were only enough so they'd understood I had to go. Did you ever tell Did you ever tell them about the virus? No, I knew that. Only that I was on a quest. Studied them about your office. Did you leave anything there? Any information? Your son looked it up, trying to keep the law from. Valerian looked at Dahlia, wonder in his eye. He screamed at me the last time out. Told me that if I came back, he'd tell the law. She squeezed. But he would never betray his father. Valerian sobbed and wiped his eyes. Tristan asked, would there have been? The man shook his head, then looked certain. So, any of your research? Did you did you do any of your research when you asked? Did you? No, wasn't here often enough in that time. It was rare that my mother would take the ships from Oli and sick. The trip there was under a month. I came here to be with my, and my hesitated. But there were calls. Brian did call me while I was here. He insisted on keeping me updated. Might have told me about the backup. Was a record of the call kept? Oh no, we don't do that here. But Alex caught the expression on Dahlia's face, which told him they might have found out how barren where to go. Did he ever discuss the fabricator calls, where it was stored while waiting for train? No, it was so long ago. Careful, he looked at. Wasn't I? Did I make a mistake? Did I leave something? Am I going to kill the universe after all? No, good father, no. All right. Didn't leave anything. The old man began wailing about not wanting to kill the universe. Looked at one of the doctors. He's exhausted. Mental fatigue. Can give him a stimulant if you demand it, but what he needs is rest. Where is the warehouse? Well acted. Alex cut the hint of urgency. The question quieted his almost as if the word was foreign to him. Yes, where the fabricator was stored. Where 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 it's hidden. Eyes flicked. Brian picked calories because they offered both physical and data. Talia asked, hopefully. How did she relax? Sleep. I'll be there when you. Gilman closed his eyes and relaxed. His breathing calm and follow her. The moment they left the room, his face changed. Gone was the warmth. Back were the hard eyes, flat, thin, someone who smiled. He was thinking, not much. It was the ears straight up pointing. Was sound there. The abrupt change made Dahlia take a step. Alex didn't even bother to be. by it. Seen such reaction often. Yes, Tristan dropped a mask before killing the person. He could switch from mask to mask with such ease that it used to make Alex dizzy. Seducing a woman once, being stern business next. He'd even been an old man once, job on shore, having difficulty. Alex had seen him change, and he'd still been convinced as a lie. Or does he not know? She took another step back. Very few people could receive that cold there and not be affected. By what? His communication with Brian being recorded. She shook her head. He didn't know. I only found out when I took charge of the family. It wasn't something he was ever going to do. I need those records. Trusted them. Was he telling the truth? Of course, he told the truth. My grandfather isn't a liar. He did what he did because he didn't have a choice. Can't comment on anything relating to the virus, but what he said about the coercion he did was plausible enough. If he's an amateur like he claims, then coding in the void is beyond him. So without getting into that vault, he could build the kind of program he'd need to trace the data there. Detaching the vault from the index isn't connected to detaching the vault from the index it's connected to is easy enough. The hard part is making find all the indexes, and it sounds like you were careful with that. Can you find it? If I have access to the mainframe, how did the fabricator? Did he give you enough information to find it? That's tougher. First, I need to find a layout of the warehouse before O'Leary made the change that to the current layout. Can you get one? Not easily. Places like that warehouse, accuracy is vital, so any approved changes quickly propagate to the backups. If this was a few days old or even a couple of months, I'm confident I could find a backup information, a back, find a back. I was, I'd be confident backup information hasn't propagated to. We're talking decades. The only way I find one of is if a backup glitched and didn't update all that time. If a coercionist happened to make a copy of the backup, or if a coercionist happened to make a copy of the backup. Realistically, the simplest way to find the fabricator will be to go to the warehouse and walk around it. Won't be quick, but it'll be faster than looking through the net. And once I get into their system, I should be able to eliminate the places it can't be by confirming the physical location are active. Wouldn't someone have already done that? I asked. Or would they? All the computer cares about is that everything is where they're supposed to be. It isn't interested in blind spots because it doesn't know they're there. It can't raise an alarm about them for the same reason. Criminals might do it, but they'd have to walk through to find out what's there. I don't know any criminal who wants. I don't know any criminals want that kind of. But you are certain you can find it. If you're willing to spend the time, we will find it. Celia said, then you should leave now or my brother does. I haven't agreed after him. Alex studied Tristan, but the mask was still. Well, as far as he could tell, he just wasn't that interested. Alex knew this had to be driving Tristan. Survival was all that mattered to him. And this virus didn't just put it at risk, it guaranteed its death. How can you not take this job? She asked in desperation. Didn't you listen to my grandfather? Everyone in the universe is going to die. Like him, there's no one I care to save in the universe. Why should I spend my time cleaning up your family mess instead of building a place to hide for 20 to 30 years? Money? Her disbelief was so honest, Alex almost laughed. Someone like her being surprised at that was just too funny. This is about money? The universe could die, and you want to put a price on it. The universe is going to die regardless of what we physics give her a tight smile. But until then, everything value, as you well know. You want me to pay for everyone in the now? She was pitiless. Susan thought about it. Be that greedy. Pay me for one life. The others will be charged. Well, save that one life, I have to save everyone else. Heard your grandfather. Vision is extremely seemed on him. Can't put a price on life, she finally managed. Life is priceless, Alex snorted, making them both look. Tristan raised an eyebrow as he spoke. Prison system assigns value to every prisoner it takes in. The bounty hunters' boards are filled with people being assigned value. Everyone is worth something to someone. All money. All about money. Fine, she snapped. 100 million. That's what I'm going to pay you to save the universe. Space Gov standard credit. Added. I said, fine. Good. Now tell me clearly what you want this job to be. Save the universe. What else? Right then. And bring my brother home. Needs help. I don't care what it takes, but bring him back to me so I can ensure he gets it. He did. Then, when she didn't add anything, he nodded. Half of it now. The rest when did I deliver your brother in? Iris says. There'll be someone waiting at your ship with the money. I thought he'd be different, but you're a merc, like all the others. Money is all you care about. Alex followed Tristan silently, trying to work out what this was about. Not her brother, finally asked. What is? The money. You don't care about that. I have more than I know what to do with. About something else. About her brother. No. It's about this being a job rather than the fact she includes her brother's life in it is the parameter for the job. I did tell her she was going to save one life. Now, she accidentally made sure her brother would survive all this. If this had been your job, there wouldn't have been anything left of it. The man who waited by the ship was dressed in the pale yellow uniform many of the people working. He presented a small case to Tristan. Out. He took the one chip and handed that to Alex, and once they were in space, all that money and put it over downstream. Tristan unlocked the ship and to do the check of the computer. When both checks didn't find anything, Alex felt better. Force field shimmered over the ship and mind left her behind. He knew he'd have to see her again. They delivered her brother. Not to get off the ship. But could just imagine how grateful she'd be and how she'd offer to. It took Alex a few hours to distribute the credits through all of Kristen's identity. He had over 300 of them spread around the unit. Unlike Alex's paltry dozen, some of those identities, Alex kept his IDs ordinary. People that Space Gulf would never. Tristan had a high ranking corporate official among his IDs from corporations Alex had never heard of, but somehow he went about no one. Somehow he went. But somehow he went about no. How he went about no one noticing them. Okay. They were from corporation somehow. Just, uh, Tristan had high ranking corporate officials among his IDs. They were from corporations Alex had never heard, but somehow they moved within them. No one noticed or raised all the flags. It didn't mean he was able to move larger amounts. Time he was done, like with previous times, Alex was left wondering how Tristan track of all. With the transaction distributed, backdated, and set in motion among all the identity programs into the money, he stood. It didn't matter how thorough the law's investigators were. With the system Alex had in place, they couldn't trace where any of the money he had come from or who it ultimately went to. He checked the cryo system, his tolerance. He'd been in it only 2 days before, but there had still been months objectives. Last time he confirmed everything was that can wait. Tristan said. Alex glanced, stood as he finished my room now. It had barely been days since the last time. He almost voiced a question, then came to his senses, ran for the room. He threw his clothing on the bed, prepared himself, and laid his stomach next to the bed. He barely heard Tristan enter, felt the fur against his leg as he knelt, and grabbed his hip. He slept on his. Before the surprise had passed, his leg were on the alien's shoulder. And Alex watched his face. It was rare they did this facing each other. Each time he looked for a sign that they hadn't. They never did, but he did. When he was used like this, were the only time Alex touched him. Alex craved. He moved his leg to wrap them waist, freeing the neck for Alex's arms around. And let him, moving in a rhythm that made this feel good for him, Alex. But that also didn't matter. He still felt amazing. And Alex had no problem giving voice to his pleasure. This concludes 12 of Shattered Salvation. If you are enjoying this, please like if you want. Know when the next one will be up, subscribe and hit the bell. Want to read the story as well as the other in series, they are available on all major. If you want to support me, that's on my Patreon, where you also get access to everything else I've written. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch at day.